Welcome to Retire Ready in 10, the Financial Corner podcast. Real conversations for real people. Hosted by Phuoc and Tram. We help you retire smart with confidence and clarity in just 10 minutes a week. Hi everybody, this is Phuoc, CEO of Financial Corner. I help build solid tax-smart retirement income plans that actually work in real life. And today we're talking about one of the trickiest transitions, learning how to go from saving your whole life to spending in retirement.
And this is Tram again. I am a licensed financial consultant with a background in psychotherapy.
Now, before we get into today's topic, at the end of our first episode, which listeners can find on the show page, I shared a little bit about my background and how I came to start Financial Corner. But I think our audience would love to hear a bit about your story and how a psychotherapist got into financial consulting and becoming an agent.
Yeah, so for those who did not know me, I didn't actually leave therapy. I still have my private practice. But along the way, something kept showing up with my clients, and that is financial stress. It came up all the time, not just in terms of money management, but the emotional toll it takes. I saw how financial pressure could lead into anxiety, into relationship issues, and even depression. And that really stayed with me. So, I started thinking, what if I could help people before it got that far? What if money didn't have to be the reason why they ended up in therapy in the first place?
Wow, that's such a powerful insight. So what did you do with that realization?
I began learning more about personal finance, and not because I wanted to sell anything, but because I want to offer a kind of support that could ease that pressure early on. Over time, that led me to also work as a financial consultant. So now I do both, therapy and financial consultant. But I'm really careful to keep those roles separate.
Right. I imagine that could get complicated. How do you manage that boundary?
Boundary is really important to me. I never mix the two, I don't offer financial advice to my therapy clients, and I don't do therapy with financial clients. No dual relationship. That's the core ethical principle in both fields, and I take it seriously. But the heart of the work is the same for me though. Whether I am supporting someone emotionally or help them navigating their finances, it's still about creating that safe space where people feel heard, understood, and respected. Especially when it comes to money, which carries so much shame and anxiety for a lot of people.
Oh, nice. I've loved your perspective and expertise that you've brought to our practice and how it's helped me to better help our clients. So, thank you for sharing that. So now let's get back to our topic, the retirement shift.
I love this topic because it is not just a financial shift. It's such a deep emotional shift too. I can't tell you how many people I have worked with who thought retirement would be the easy part, only to find out that letting go of saving mode is surprisingly hard.
Right? I've met millionaires who still feel guilty going out to eat. They're afraid to touch their savings, even though that's what the money is for. It's like their brain is still stuck in, I need to preserve everything mode.
And it makes sense, if you spend 30, maybe 40 years working, budgeting, saving money, being disciplined about money, then suddenly someone says, now relax and spend it all wisely. People don't automatically know how to do that.
Totally. Retirement isn't just about the math, it's about learning how to give yourself permission to use the money you saved. But that's hard to do when you're worried it might run out.
So, what is the first step? How do you help someone shift into that new mindset to actually enjoy what they have built?
Well, what I tell them first is this. Retirement is not one big stretch of time. It actually comes in phases. Your 60s, 70s, 80s, they all look different. So you don't have to treat your retirement spending like it has to last the same every year.
That is such a good point. Most people do more in their 60s. They go travel, they still have a lot of hobbies, and they want to help grandkids. But by the time they are in their late 70s or 80s, their expenses shift to healthcare, in-home support, and maybe less outings.
Exactly. That's why we talk about building a retirement spending curve, not a flat line. You can front load some of your fun and still be prepared for later needs. It's all about timing and structure.
I remember a client of ours, I don't know if you remember, let's just call her Susan. She came in with more than enough saved, but she kept saying, what if I need it later? She wouldn't even fix her kitchen faucet because she was afraid to waste money, remember?
Yeah, I remember Susan. Once we walked through a retirement income plan for her, one that showed her exactly what income she could count on each month with a safety net built in, she finally felt comfortable fixing the faucet and taking her grandkids to Disneyland.
And that is the beauty of structure. Once you know your money has a job, like this account pays my basic living expenses, and this one's is for travel, this one's for my emergency fund, your brain can finally relax.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that structure for a second. It's not just a spreadsheet, it's a system. Some people use guaranteed income sources like annuities or Social Security for their essentials. And then they let market-based accounts handle the extras.
And it's like having a paycheck in retirement, except you build it yourself. That predictability reduces the stress of spending.
And here's something important. You don't have to guess. You don't have to hope your withdrawals won't deplete your portfolio. There are tools we use, projections, stress tests, income ladders, to show exactly how long your plan can last.
And if you are listening right now thinking, that sounds great, but what if the market crashes or inflation keeps rising? You are not alone. That fear is exactly why we recommend people build in protection.
Right, and protection doesn't mean you're being overly cautious. It means you're being smart. Index-based income strategies can give you growth and downside protection. Some even include income guarantees for life, no matter what the market does.
And as someone who works closely with people's emotions, let me say this. Nothing feels better than having peace of mind in your later years, knowing you can take a trip, fix a roof, or helping your grandchild without worrying. That's what real freedom feels like.
Absolutely. That's why we do this work. It's not about building wealth for wealth's sake. It's about helping you use what you've worked so hard for and actually enjoying it.
So, if you are sitting there with retirement accounts and don't have a clear plan, or if you're afraid to spend even though you have saved well, don't just stay there and get stuck.
We'd love to invite you to one of our free local workshops. We cover this exact topic, how to turn your savings into a reliable, tax-smart income stream so you can spend confidently and live fully. So, the way you spend in retirement matters just as much as how you save. Don't leave it to chance. Click the link in the show notes to connect with us or join an upcoming workshop and learn how to turn your savings into income you can count on. Thanks for listening to the Retire Ready in 10, the Financial Corner podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and share with someone